The show opens with a young woman named Xiao who's cooking a delicious meal. She's very excited today as she's planning to surprise her boyfriend, Lin Rui, for their anniversary. However, when she goes to meet him, she finds him getting clingy with another woman. This devastates her so much that she faints on the spot. Fortunately, a guy comes up to her and takes her to the hospital. A while later, Xiao wakes up to find a handsome man named Yan Yu in front of her. He's the same guy who brought her here. They turn out to be childhood friends, and Xiao is shocked to see him after so long. As a result, she ends up fainting once again. We then see a flashback of their childhood, and Xiao narrates that Yan Yu was the biggest pain in her ass back then. One time, she changed her exam scores and was about to receive a reward from her parents. However, Yan Yu intervened and revealed to her parents that she didn't actually score such high marks. In fact, she had changed her scores to make it look like she was a good student. Because of this, our poor heroine was severely scolded and reprimanded by her parents. As time passed, they both attended high school together, but Yan Yu didn't change. One day, Xiao deliberately cut her uniform skirt shorter to look more attractive. When he found out about this, he went to her locker and swapped her skirt with his pants. Due to this, she had to come outside wearing his pants, and the entire school made fun of her. In another instance, Yan Yu gave her a love letter claiming it was from a handsome boy. Xiao was thrilled because it was the first time someone had shown interest in her. In the letter, the guy asked her to meet at the auditorium that evening. Excited, she went there to see him, but after waiting for a few hours, she realized she'd been tricked by Yan Yu once again. In the present, a heartbroken Xiao confides in her best friend Meng that her boyfriend cheated on her. She can't believe that he turned out to be such a piece of shit. After crying for a long time, Xiao comes up with an idea of finding a fake boyfriend. She wants to make her ex jealous so that he realizes his mistake. The next day, she and Meng put up the posters on a notice board looking for a pretend boyfriend. Because of this, many guys begin applying, and the two girls start interviewing them. They end up interviewing a lot of guys, but none of them seem right for Xiao. Eventually, Meng suggests that maybe she should reach out to Yan Yu since they've been friends since childhood. He's good-looking and intelligent, so this would surely make her ex very jealous. However, Xiao gets mad and says she's not interested in him. As the ladies are leaving, another guy arrives for the interview, and it turns out to be Yan Yu. He offers to be her fake boyfriend, but Xiao believes he's just there to fuck with her again. He clarifies that he knows everything about her, and pretending will be easy for them. However, she immediately refuses and tells him to stay away from her. The next day, we see Xiao working part-time as a chef at a restaurant. She receives an order for a coral fish dish, which happens to be her specialty. However, when she goes to serve the food, she's surprised to see that it's for her ex Lin Rui and his new girlfriend, Wei Ron. Xiao tries to ignore them and walks away, but then she suddenly bumps into Yan Yu. Understanding her situation, he pretends to be her boyfriend and hugs her. He also orders a dish and the two of them sit together while pretending to be a loving couple. Seeing this, both Lin Rui and Wei Ron become very upset and leave the restaurant. Later, she asks why he's helping her and what he wants in return. He says he's willing to be her fake boyfriend to help make her ex jealous. He then reveals that his parents have gone abroad and he doesn't like eating takeout food, so he wants her to cook for him in exchange for helping her. Xiao thinks this is a good idea, so she agrees to this condition. The next morning on her way to college, Xiao accidentally bumps into Yan Yu again and falls. She ends up hurting her eye in the process and has to wear an eye patch. In the afternoon, there's a basketball match at the college with Lin Rui and Yan Yu on opposing teams. Xiao cheers loudly for her new boyfriend, while Wei Ron cheers for Lin Rui. This makes our girl very jealous, so when a ball comes near her, she pretends to be hit and falls to the ground. She's doing this with the hopes that her ex will sympathize with her and come to her. Meanwhile, one of the players approaches her and apologizes, thinking he was the one who accidentally hurt her. Xiao claims it's okay and tells him not to be reckless from now on. She wonders if her ex is looking at her, but suddenly Yan Yu arrives and takes her hand. He tells her that they're leaving for home, where she will cook for him. Xiao complains that the game isn't finished yet, but he doesn't care and insists he's hungry. Arriving home, he goes to take a shower while Xiao begins cutting vegetables. She angrily mumbles that Yan Yu interrupted her earlier and cost her the chance to reconcile with her ex. While lost in thought, she accidentally cuts her finger. This sends her into a state of panic and she starts screaming at the top of her lungs. Fortunately, Yan Yu rushes out of the shower and calms her down. While he's tending to her cut, she becomes nervous seeing him shirtless. He then asks if she started liking him, wondering why she's staring at him like that. Xiao denies it and suggests he put some clothes on. Afterward, he decides to cook for her since she hurt her fingers. But his cooking turns out to be disastrous and he accidentally sets the kitchen on fire. Xiao manages to put out the flames, but the food has already been burnt. In the next scene, the two sit down to eat and Yan Yu apologizes for burning the food. Xiao replies that she's willing to forgive him on one condition. She explains that there's a barbecue happening in a few days where everyone will be going as a couple. Her ex will also be there and she wants to make him jealous. She then asks him to come as her boyfriend and he gladly agrees. On the day of the party, the two attend as a couple and pretend to be very much into one another. They actually have a lot of fun together, and Yeon-yu even feeds her food with his hands. Meanwhile, Lin Ro-wi watches from a distance and becomes very jealous. It's evident that he started to regret cheating on her. Later, when Xiao is alone, he approaches her and asks if she's doing this just to make him jealous. He can't believe that she's gotten into another relationship so soon. However, Xiao responds by saying that they're now separated, and he has no right to question her. Later, Wan-rae gets everyone together and proposes playing a game called Truth or Drink. The rules are simple. If the chosen person can't tell the truth, they have to drink a can of beer. When the game begins, Wan-rae chooses Lin Ro-wi and asks who he loves the most out of all of his girlfriends. He expectedly points to her, making her very happy. After that, Wan-rae chooses Xiao and decides to ask her a question. However, Yeon-yu steps in and says she'll drink instead. Our girl obliges and drinks a can, but for the next several rounds, she keeps getting chosen on purpose. Because of this, she ends up shit-faced, so Yeon-yu carries her home. On their way back, someone throws water on them, getting them all wet. When they finally reach home, Yeon-yu gives Xiao some clothes to change into, which she does. But as he's about to leave, she asks him to stay close. Xiao is so drunk that she doesn't know what she's saying. The next morning when she wakes up, she's surprised to see Yeon-yu right in front of her. She notices that he has a fever, so she takes care of him and gives him some medicine. When Yeon-yu starts feeling better, Xiao asks him what happened last night. When she notices that her clothes have been changed, she thinks he did it. Enraged, she screams and starts hitting him, prompting him to lock her in the room. A little while later, he opens the door and she proceeds to attack him again. But when she sees that he's making a hangover medicine for her, she feels touched. At this moment, she realizes how loving he is and how he's always taking care of her. She then reminisces about all the sweet moments they spent together and comes to the conclusion that she started liking him. The next day, Xiao prepares lunch for Yeon-yu and decides to bring it to him. But when she goes to meet him, she sees him with a senior student. This makes her incredibly jealous and she walks away without giving him lunch. Confused, Yeon-yu wonders what happened, to which the senior assumes that Xiao might have misunderstood their relationship. Hearing this, our hero comes up with an idea. That evening, he invites both Xiao and Meng for dinner at his place. During the meal, he introduces them to his senior girl and tries to make Xiao jealous. However, the plan doesn't work, and she ends up getting along very well with the senior. Once they're alone, Yeon-yu finally musters up the courage to admit to Xiao that he likes her. Hearing this, she feels happy and admits that she likes him as well. Later, the two go for a walk and Xiao asks if he's always had feelings for her. He replies with a yes and reveals that the only reason he used to annoy her was to get her attention. In a flashback, we learn that Yeon-yu has always had a thing for Xiao. During high school, he gave her a secret love letter and invited her to the auditorium. That evening, both of them showed up at the location, but since they were on opposite sides, they didn't see each other. When they got to university, he again gathered the courage to propose to her, but she started dating Lin Ro-wi, breaking our hero's heart. In the present, the two officially get into a relationship and grow very close. Meanwhile, Lin Ro-wi has broken up with his girlfriend, and he is very jealous of Xiao's new affair. One night, he shows up at her workplace very drunk. He asks if they can get back together, but she turns him down and asks him to leave. However, he refuses and tries to force himself on her. Just then, Yeon-yu arrives outside and panics upon hearing the commotion. He grabs a stick and rushes inside, but it turns out that Xiao has already taken care of the situation. She's thrown Lin Ro-wi to the ground and is about to hit him with a gas cylinder. At this moment, Wei Ran also arrives there and becomes upset to see Lin Ro-wi in this condition. She finally understands his true character and decides to get him out of her life for good. A few days later, it's Yeon-yu's birthday, so Xiao plans a surprise for him on the rooftop. She leads him there, and he's delighted to see the beautiful setup. However, when Xiao tries to cook for him, she realizes she forgot the stove. She suggests they have cake first, but when they proceed, they learn it's melted. As a last resort, Xiao proposes they play music on the radio and dance. But to her annoyance, the radio is also not working. Seeing her getting so worked up, Yeon-yu comforts her and suggests they celebrate at his apartment instead. But when they attempt to leave, they find the rooftop door is locked. With no other choice, they spend the entire night on the rooftop together, watching the stars and eventually falling asleep. In the morning, they see a beautiful sunrise and realize that even though things didn't go as expected, they got to share this beautiful moment. The scene then cuts to a few months later where they've completed their final year of college. One day, they decide to visit Xiao's parents for dinner. During the meal, Mom asks Yeon-yu if he has a girlfriend. This catches Xiao off guard and she tries to cover his mouth to stop him from answering. But he brushes her aside and admits that he has a girlfriend, and it's none other than their daughter. Hearing this, Mom is delighted as she's always hoped for them to be together. However, Dad becomes upset and retreats to his room. The couple follow him and ask for his approval in their relationship. In response, Dad grabs a stick and threatens to punish Yeon-yu if he ever mistreats his daughter. Our hero understands his concern, so he holds his hand and promises to always take care of Xiao. He says he will always treat her like a princess. This gesture softens Dad's heart, and he finally gives the couple his blessing. In the end, everything is resolved, and the show ends on a happy note.